Campers. We have all seen them. Some of you may even own one, and many of us have used them for camping holidays. Campers come in all sizes, shapes, and price ranges. Where did the idea of campers come from, and what do they have to do with sheep? Hi, this is the Wyoming Traveler, and in this video I will tell the story of the camper, where the idea originated, what it has to do with sheep, and for that matter, what the camper has to do with Wyoming history. So stick around for an interesting story.
In the mid-1870s, the sheep industry became a major component of the Wyoming economic interest. The shepherds who cared for the sheep when they were high in the mountains during the summer stayed in what was called sheep wagons.
The sheep wagon was developed to provide shelter and living area for the sheep herders.
These sheep wagons look very much like the old covered wagons that cross the trails of Wyoming headed to Oregon or California.
The prairie schooner of the Western settler, however, were not designed to be lived in. They were used to haul supplies and possessions. The settlers slept and ate outdoors or in tents, not in the wagons.
One of the things that the sheep industry did was to take the sheep out in the summer up into the high pasture. And the man responsible for it got to live in one of these wagons all summer, which we call as sheep wagons. And to give us a tour is going to be Angie Hobbs from the Elk Mountain Museum. Okay.
All right, well, welcome to the Elk Mountain Museum. This is our restored sheep wagon that we put together last year. Here's what it looked like when we started, and here's what it looks like now. So that was quite the restoration project for us. A lot of fun with that. In a sheep camp, you'll generally find, you good? In a sheep camp, you'll always find a warm bed. You'll always find one of these tables that will pull out and slide it back in. Whoop. Slide back in so it can get out of the way. In the walls of all the sheep barn, the seats is storage for grain for the animals, food for the dogs, might be firewood, might be whatever you can store in the wheel well boxes there. One on either side. You'll always find a good sturdy fireplace, cook stove in here. This one was original to the wagon, so this is well over 100 years old. They generally have a stovepipe. We don't have ours just because it's for demonstration purposes. Fantastic. That would keep you as snug as a bug, even in winter. You'd wake up cold, but you'd start warm. You could cook on there, as you can see. This Dutch oven came with the original sheep camp as well. That's pretty cool. Sturdy Dutch oven. Boy, go back in there. All the sheep camps had a bowl. And the way they'd level the sheep camps is they'd fill that bowl with water. And once the water looked level in the bowl, they'd set it somewhere in the sheep camp. Then you know your camp was level. You'd live in here with yourself, probably the dogs. Sometimes they would run two sheep herders, and they would take shifts. So one would sleep while one would run the sheep, and then they'd of course switch. A little bit of company there. If you ever happened upon a sheep camp, you would be fed. They would feed you. They would of course take care of you and host you, invite you in, whatever they had to offer. They would generally take these sheep camps out to the range with the sheep, and they'd move them around as the range got worn down. They would send supply wagons out to the sheep herders and keep them well supplied all summer long.
About how long would a person or persons stay out here?
They stayed out, well, the summer range, they'd stay out all summer, spring and fall, of course, but sheep camps became well used even in the winter. People would live in them. They took them up to the mining camps, to the tie hat camps. People would live in them all winter even. These are sheep shears. Yep, these are the sheep shears. This is a tent post. It's reported to have been used to build like a run for the sheep to come in and get sheared. They would set up a temporary run with something like that. This here's the sheep hook. You could hook a sheep by the legs, I guess, and bring them into you, catch them if they were running amok out there. This is the brake system of the sheep wagon, and this one still works. So you could, when you drove a sheep wagon, you sat right in the door with your team out front, and you'd either sit to the side like this, or you'd build a chair with a board or something like that, or stand, and that's how you drive the sheep wagon. This is the brake system, like I mentioned. This one still works. The brakes, pretty great setup there. Of course, you'd want to put that all away for winter so you didn't have a draft or mice.
How many horses did you have to pull?
This one is reported to be a single tree, which could have been pulled by 2 good sturdy horses. You could have used a double tree and had more horses. They generally didn't keep the horses with them. They would move them with the horses, and then whoever was helping them move would, because it was extra animals to take care of. But someone was in charge of moving the sheep camps for the sheep herders. You can tell the sheep.
Nice view.
Yeah,
when you woke up in the morning.
Old-timey glass. Sometimes they will build a shelf above that window so they can have more storage. Sheep herders would generally have newspapers, maybe a radio if they were lucky, battery-powered radio. Very lonely work to be a sheep herder out for days and days. They would have drawers under the bed, as well as cupboard space under the bed. Families have lived in sheep wagons, and they would reportedly put little kids to sleep under there and then move the stuff back in so that everyone could be together, more like a bunk bed situation. Very tight living with a family. I can't imagine that, but this is a pretty glorified model. We restored it to look pretty, just as a showpiece. They were generally a little more run down. When we found it, the side box had burned on ours because of the fire, the cook stove, but still recording.
Yeah.
30.
Where we could get it.
Oh, this is the only one.
Oh.
But I'm happy to order more if people want them. I made it just for the project, but if people are interested, mostly it's just the restoration of this particular camp.
Okay, so
not necessarily how to restore a sheep camp.
So if someone's interested, they should contact you here at the Elk Mountain Museum.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Angie.
Well, you're welcome.
This is very, very interesting. Sort of a life that not a lot of people are involved in.
Not a lot of people, but the cool thing about these are they were invented in Rawlins, Wyoming. That's the history of them. They were invented here in Carbon County, Wyoming. You see them all over. Now they're a showpiece. People restore them just to have them, and they'll use them for guest housing or Airbnb or something like that. You can pay $100 to sleep in a sheep wagon with no other amenities.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Indeed.
The sheep wagon is a symbol and cultural artifact of both the Old and the modern West, as well as an ancestor of today's camper. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you want to see more videos of the Old West, please hit the subscribe button. Thanks.